In this lesson, we are going to consider what routes are and how to interact with routes. So by definition, route is simply an extension of your URL that directs you to a certain page or call for a certain action. All right, so let me just illustrate this from the browser so that you can see. So route is an extension of the URL. For example, now in this case here, this is our URL, localhost 8000. Then our route is this thing here, /test. If I can add this to, let us say, /login /register. So this is what we basically call route, this extension here of your URL that directs you to another page or perform a certain action when we hit that point. All right. So in Laravel, we need to declare this route. Route are found in this folder, and to declare routes to be used on the web, we need to come here on web.php. All right. So now in this lesson, we are going to look on how to declare routes and how to work with strings in routes. All right. So now to declare a route, I need to say route, and then I need to declare the method that will be rendered on the browser, or the method that will be executed on the browser. In this case, if I want to display data, I'll declare a get method. But let us say maybe I have a form in my HTML code and I want to get that data and store the data in the database. I'll use a post. All right, we'll be able to see that also. So for now, I'll just use a get, which means just display data. And then I need to declare the route here by itself. And in this case, I just declare a route test. And then what I want is that when the route has been hit, I want to call a function, all right? And in this function, what I'm going to do is that I want to return a string, all right? So I can say return testing test route, all right? Like that. So when I hit this endpoint here, or when I hit this route, I need to be able to see this string that I've just pasted here. So that is how basically you interact with route. When you go to a certain route, then you ought to perform a certain function. And in this function, in our case here, I want this function to return a string. So now if I just save everything here, and if I go to my browser and now I go to something like test here. So as you can see, when I hit this endpoint here, or when I hit this route, it returns a string. All right, it returns a string. So that is what route simply is, and that is how you can be able to return a string using route. So again, if I change, let us say maybe I declare this string here and maybe say this is a test. So if I say this is a test string and then I just cut everything here and just paste this guy here and then just return our test string here like this, and then just save this, go back to the browser and just do a refresh here. So as you can see, it returns the same string. So that is how you can be able to define routes and return string. The next thing that I want us to look here is to return arrays. All right, so again, I'm going to declare a route here, and this route, the method is going to be get, and inside this get I'm going to declare slash, let us say array. In fact, on this top one, let us just put a string here just for better naming, and then I'm going also to return a function here like this. And inside this function, what I'm going to do, let me put semicolon here, I'm going to return an array, and this array is going to contain, let us say maybe name, maybe age, and maybe occupation. All right, occupation like this. Then I'm going to save this and then go to the browser, then go to array. Remember, we have declared another route, so in this case I will use array /array, then do a refresh here. As you can see, now our route returns this array, very beautiful. And then let us just go here and do something else. Let us say we declare an array here, let us call this array bio, and let us say array like this. And then inside here, I'm going to say the name, and this name is going to point to a guy by the name Kevin. That is my name, Kevin Amai, like this. And then I'm also going to say that maybe the age, let us point the age maybe to something like 25. And also, let us say the occupation should be a software engineer. All right, like that. And then what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to return the bio like this. And then let us save this. Let us go back to the browser and see what it will give us. So as you can see down here, what now I have is the array returned with the name Kevin Amai, with the age 25, with the occupation software engineer. So just play around with the arrays and the string and see what you can be able to achieve with this route. All right. I'm going to add now again another route inside here and say return JSON like this. And then down here, I'm going to use our route again. And as you can remember, our route will have to declare the method like this. And then in this case, I'm going to say /JSON, and the function here, of course, and then like this. So here I'm going to return JSON data. The way we'll do this, you'll say response. This is in Laravel, you'll say response, and then this response will call another method or another function. So the way you call another method is by putting this arrow here, and then you call a JSON method, and then in this JSON expects you to pass an array. All right. So what I can do here is I can say maybe again my name is, let me just write this first. My name is that, and then we can put maybe my age, like the first time I can say like that. My age is maybe 25, and then we can have maybe the occupation again, and then the occupation can be maybe software developer. All right. Let us just add one more, and here what I'm going to say maybe hobby, and I'm going to say maybe the hobby for this guy is reading. All right. And then yeah, we are good. So I'll go again to the browser and just hit this endpoint of JSON like this. So as you can see here is that our browser will return a JSON response or a JSON format of the code that we have just passed here. So let us go back again to our file here. And what I'm going to do is that what we can actually do is that we can remove this array here just to spice things up, and just put here and just say Kevin underscore bio like this, and then I'll say Kevin underscore bio is equal to array, and then in this array I'm going to paste my data there, and I'm going to do something like this, and then in this JSON here I'm going to say like this. I'm going to say Kevin underscore bio should point to or should be equal to, I'm going to say should be equal to Kevin bio like this. All right. So okay, here we expect to have an array, so I'm going to cut this and I'm going to paste this inside here like this, and then let us try again to run this and see. All right. As you can see now, we have Kevin bio as the naming parameter for this data. All right. So Kevin bio, it contains another JSON inside, which now contains my data. That is how you can be able to render JSON in your browser. And I just did this to show you how you can be able to render multiple JSON file or multiple JSON data in the browser using Laravel. So again, what I can actually do is that I can just do this and just say something like this. Let me just paste here and say Kevin friends. All right. So let us just see what it will give us. And then here I'm going to say friend one. And in order to duplicate this line, let me just delete this. I can just hit Command D while I've just placed my cursor on this line. Command D, and this will duplicate this line. So I want maybe 3 lines like this, 4 lines like this, and then I can say this is friend 3, this is friend 2, and this is friend 4. All right. So friend 1 can be Jackson. Friend 2 can be Mike. Friend 3 can be Alvin. Friend 4 can be Eric. All right. Something of that sort. And then now inside our JSON response here, I can say what I want is that the Kevin bio to point to Kevin array, and then I also want to have another guy by Kevin underscore friends, and I want this guy to point to Kevin friends. All right, like that. So let us go again to the browser and see what it will give us. Let me just do a refresh here. All right, as you can see now, we have Kevin's bio with its own array here, and then we have Kevin friends with its own array here. So that is how you can be able to render JSON using routes. All right. I'm going to add a comment here, and in this comment, I'm going to say, let us say return function. All right, functions like that, and I'm going to declare this route. And this route is going to be a get route, of course, and this is going to hit the route by the name function like this, and then we are going, of course, to have a function here. And then what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to return a function here. So some of the functions that you can return in Laravel, there are quite a number. For example, we have a function by the name redirect. So what this function will do is that it redirects to another route. All right, when you go to this function, it will redirect to another route. So I'll just redirect here to, for example, let us say to our guy here that we had created, which is JSON. So like this, I'll do like this. When I hit this route function, it ought to redirect me to the route JSON. And in this route JSON, of course, we had this data here that was displayed in JSON format. So what I expect at the end of the day is to see data in JSON format. All right. So let us try and see. So now if I go to function like this and just hit enter, this ought to redirect me to the JSON endpoint. As you can see, it has redirected me to JSON endpoint, and in this JSON endpoint, of course, we had this data. So a good example will be, for example, for those people who are not logged in, when they try to access something like logout, or when they try to access a file maybe that require login, is that you redirect them back to the login page so that they can be able to log in to access this page. All right. And so guys, there are a couple of functions that you can be able to pass to this route here. For example, there is a function by the name view, which returns the view that you want. There is a function by the name compact, which also return view in a very interesting way, but we are going to cover this in the next lesson. But for now, what I wanted also to show you is that apart from just calling a function, you can be able also to pass some parameter in this URL like this, and just say, for example, we want to pass an ID here. We'll just do something like this, and this ID can be consumed into the function that has been called by that specific route by declaring it like this. You can just say ID inside the arguments of this function, and then you can be able to use this parameter or this argument in the code like this. So I'll just say something like this. So we can be able to return this ID in the code. So what I'm expecting here is that if I go to this route and pass a value here, this value will be used by this function inside here. So now let us go back to the browser here, and I change this to function slash, let us pass maybe 56. If I hit this endpoint now, this ought to return this value 56. Why? Because this value is being consumed by the function that is being declared by this route. So as you can see here, we have 56 being returned. If I pass my name, for example, here, I press enter, as you can see, we have my name returned. So guys, with that, I wanted you to see how you can be able to return function and also how you can be able to pass parameter to these URLs. Let me just add another comment here and say, this is going to return views like this. Then let us just declare our route here very fast, a get route. And this route, I'm going just to say, for example, test or v1. Let me just call this v1, and this v1 is going to return a function as usual. So I'm going to say a function. In this function now, today we are not just going to return some demi data. We are going to say return, and I'm going to use this function. We have learned how to call this function, so I'm going to call this function by the name view. Then I'll pass the name of the view inside this view function. And the name of the view is that if we go back to the resource folder here where I told you the views reside, the name of the view now that will pass here will be this first name of this file, all right? In this case, we have welcome.blade.php. So the name of the view in our case will be welcome, all right? So I just say welcome like this. And then now if I go to the browser and hit this endpoint of v1, expect to see the view of welcome and all those stuff. As you can see now, it returns for me this view, which is basically the code which is in the welcome.blade file. So what I'm going to do, let us create another view here. Let us just create another view. So I'll go to this view folder. I'll just create a new file here, and as you can guess, I'm going to call this view, let us say view2.blade. Don't forget to do that, otherwise your file won't be rendered .php like that. So, and in this view, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to declare some simple HTML file here, or some simple HTML code. Let us just put a paragraph here and just say testing view2. All right, some very dummy data, and then I just go to the, so I'll go to our web file here, and then I just duplicate this. If you can remember to duplicate this code, you press Ctrl D. I just remove these comments here, and then I'll say this is view2. What I want is that when people hit view2 in the browser, this route, I want to take them to view2, all right, that we have just created here, view2.blade.php. Then I'll save this, I'll go back to the browser and now change this to view2. As you can see now, it declares or displays what we have already declared in that view. So that is how you can be able to return views in your routes.